And the journal entries are just, recording the event, the economic event that's taking place. I actually added this little table in here because I think it just is more helpful to show what a real world journal entry would be. The accountant's going to go into the system and they're going to mark the date. They're going to mark the accounts that are relevant in this situation. Here, we've made a sale for $20,000 and we haven't received cash yet because we've sold to some customer who's going to pay us $20,000 within 30 days or whatever we put together in the contract. So our assets are increasing. Our accounts receivable is increasing by 20,000, so we debit it. And our revenue, if we're going back, revenue has a credit balance, so we're increasing our revenue. So it makes sense that we credit it in this entry. Here's just some accounts that increase with debits. Big five, I like to think are assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, and expenses. Right, those are the main five that you need to know. Right, whether it's a debit or credit that increases or decreases them. If we increase an asset, what do we do? Decrease an asset, what do we do? If we increase equity, what do we do? If we decrease equity, what do we do? So with the debit, we increase assets, expenses, such as cost of goods sold, and dividends. We increase the credit, all liabilities, contra assets, revenues, common stock, fancy word is paid in capital, current maturities of long-term debt, which is just think of the current portion of the mortgage that you have to pay, for the whole long-term 30-year part of the mortgage. Accounts that decrease with a debit, so liabilities, contra assets, revenues, basically just doing the opposite, right? Seeing a trend here? So if we increase with one side, you decrease with the other. So going back to the contra assets, contra assets, there are a few of them, but contra assets they're technically assets because they correspond to some specific asset, but it decreases from that balance. But because it corresponds to that asset, it is considered a type of asset, but it is contra because if you increase a contra asset with a credit, you'll be decreasing basically the value of the asset that's recorded with the debit that it corresponds to. We'll see if we get to an example of that.